Hey, this is Dave Sherwin. Welcome to video number 2 of a 3-part series, Activate Your Superpowers with a Business Virtual Assistant. And again, this is video number 2, so if you haven't seen number 1 yet, go back and find that. And if you haven't got the mini workbook, you're going to want that as well, because a lot of the links and good information is in there, and there's some stuff in there that's not on the videos. And so the two go hand in hand. If you don't have that, go to escapethematrix.net/VA to download that. Now, in part 2, we're going to talk about, first of all, what can a virtual assistant do for you? And here is a short list, and I mean it, this is short. There's a ton of other things they could do. These are just things that I've had done. Create web pages, post to my blogs, create content, do research, social connecting and inviting, generating traffic through Twitter, managing marketing campaigns, finding or creating graphics and images to dress up my blog or websites, creating presentations and PowerPoints for me, newsletters every week, creating PDFs, workbooks, and products, creating new blogs, social content, Squidoo lenses, hub pages, and much, much more. You can go ahead and add to the list anything that is a repetitive task that anybody else could do that's electronic in nature, where you can communicate information over the internet to them on how to do it. And so the sky is the limit. So much of these things you just shouldn't be doing, frankly. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, somebody else should be doing these things for you. Now, once you've made your own list, and in the workbook there's a place where you can add anything to that existing list, and that will become your requirements document. I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. But before you fill out your requirements document, you've also got to think about what skills will they need to fulfill these requirements. Things you may want to think about are, what level of English skills will be adequate for what you want? How about writing skills? Do you want them to do transcription? If they're going to do any writing, by the way, they must be an English native speaker, not English as a second language, unless they're very, very talented and have much experience with English. But if you want them to do actual writing, their English obviously has to be very, very high. HTML, do you want them to have blogging experience, SEO, pay-per-click, social marketing, Twitter, research, graphic design, email blasts, and autoresponder setup? Do you want them to have a college education? How about hours? How many hours would you like to have them work for you on a daily basis? Not only how many, what hours would you like them to work? If the person, for example, is in India, you're in the United States, they're about half a world away, in which case they would generally be sleeping while you're awake. Do you want them to stay up late or get up early to work so that you overlap some of your hours? Many of them are willing to do this. And again, it depends on where you hire the person. Someone in the Philippines, for example, a lot closer to the U.S. So for whatever country you're in, that may influence who you hire as to what time of day they can actually work. Here's some great places to find a VA. Write these down in your workbook. elance.com, odesk.com, guru.com, and craigslist.com, especially if you're looking for a U.S. executive or virtual assistant. Here's some posting tips. When you go to post the job to one of those places, tip number 1 is write great requirements. Make sure that you've got as much detail on there as you possibly can while keeping it simple. Don't get too carried away. In other words, these are intelligent people. You don't have to detail the project right down to the last little thing. As a matter of fact, that can be negative because of point number 4. You don't want to be disclosing any competitive information if you give too detailed of a requirement document. Also, you can award a partial project at first, so you don't have to give away the whole enchilada. You could test a VA with a certain portion of a larger project and make that part of your requirements document, knowing that the rest of your project could be fulfilled easily if they have the skills to fulfill the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Bid low, but within the right range. In other words, if you're looking for someone with a very high level of skill and a master's degree, then you're going to be paying more than someone who doesn't have the master's degree or a certain skill set, but bid low within that range. More power tips on finding a VA. Do not use beginners. Don't let them experiment on you. Find someone who's already been a VA for somebody else and review their feedback and take that feedback very seriously. Take the time to study their portfolios. Also, keep square pegs in square holes. Don't try to get a VA to do something that they're not that skilled at. And so try to find someone who meets your requirements right up front, rather than to find someone who's really great in some areas but you really want them to do something else. Just find somebody else to do that other thing. Check to see if they have repeat buyers. Check to make sure their response matches your criteria. Is their response complete? If they can't fill out a complete response to your request, that's a pretty big red flag as to what type of work they do and how they think. Ask for references if they don't provide them. And last, don't be fooled by price. For example, the person who wants $8 an hour but can type 120 words a minute and has a very high level of skill may be more profitable for you than the person who charges $3 an hour with lower skill and slower typing speed. So take all those things into consideration before you make your choice. On negotiating price and engaging your business virtual assistant, refer to the workbook. There's detail in there that I'm not going to cover on the video. So that's point number one. There's some goodies in there you need to read. But remember the entrepreneurial rule. Be slow to hire and fast to fire. I have kind of a 3 strikes and you're out philosophy, where I'll definitely work well with somebody and do my best and work through some bugs and glitches and issues. But if there's a major disappointment, that's strike 1. Major disappointment 2 is strike 2. Major disappointment 3 is time to find somebody who doesn't give me major disappointments. And that's the end of video 2. In video 3, we're going to cover building a relationship of trust with your new VA, the best communication tools to use, setting milestones and expectations, the 3 laws of mentorship, and again, if you haven't got the download yet, go ahead and go to escapethematrix.net/VA, and we'll see you on video 3. This is Dave Sherwin wishing you massive success, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.